বোঝাতেও অসুবিধা হয়। But in case of GTM, what happened to there? Most probably reading too much. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so we are in that process that the students' native language is the medium of instruction, and for this reason students and learners both will be benefited. Okay, it is used to explain the new words and to enable competition to be made between the foreign language and the students' native language. Another thing is that you can deliver your lecture in the native language teacher, and for the teachers and for the learners it would be beneficial. Why? As I have said earlier, that means actually for teaching and for understanding, delivering or something in native language is very helpful. So that is the things. GTM is the dominated foreign language learning and teaching method in Europe from the 1840s to the 1940s. 1840s means 1940 সাল থেকে শুরু হয়েছে আর শেষ হয়েছে কত? 1840 থেকে শুরু হয়েছে, শেষ হয়েছে কত? 100 বছর. Still in many parts of this world they follow GTM. Yeah, and we also follow CLT, communicative language teaching. Still in our core, in the core of our mind, that is we follow GTM. At present GTM is used as a modified form in some parts of the world. In 1984, Howard points out that GTM was introduced by those who wanted to teach classical language like German, French and Latin. As I have said earlier, it is a classical method in this way, that means the German language, French and Latin language. In our introductory class we have said that actually they had a rich literature, and for this reason they initiated that our literature is great, and for this reason the learners from all other countries and the language they wanted to teach or learn their literature, and for this reason this GTM started its journey. Which are the languages? That is German, French and Latin, and through the rigorous grammatical rules. But thousands of the school runners showed distaste to GTM next time. That means after 1940 decades. 1940 সালের পর থেকে অনেকে এই GTM নিয়ে কথা বলা শুরু করলো. Actually, foreign language learning mean to be school learners, that is nothing but to tedious, tiresome, exhausting, tiresome, boring, weary. Okay, the criticism তাদের basis কি? যে এত পরিমাণে ওয়ার্ড মিনিং মুখস্থ করতে হবে, that is very much exhausting. Oh, I can tolerate this. That is exhausting, tiring, boring, weary attitude. What is that? Means to study language rules and vocabulary. Who said that? Many critics after 1940 decades, 1940 সালের পর থেকে many critics said that yes, GTM, that means this language learning teaching method is very much boring. Exercise experience of memorizing endless list of unusable grammar. Okay, unusable grammar. Actually we are learning the grammar rules and also vocabulary, but we can't use this in our day-to-day communication, and for this reason the grammar rules and the vocabulary they said that these are unusable, and the list of vocabulary endless. কতটা ওয়ার্ডের অর্থ শিখতে হবে? বলছে যত পারো শেখো. Many of our university senior brother, we would say that he is a living dictionary. That was the portion. The many of the students they also memorized the whole Oxford dictionary. And we would say that they are the living dictionary. Why? This is for the principles of GTM. Memorizing vocabulary is plenty. An attempt to translate perfectly or is tilted or literary purpose. Okay, so many causes we have to study the vocabulary, and that was the tiresome aspects of GTM. Amar kotha na, according to some critics. Although GTM creates frustration for the learners, it is welcomed and liked by the teachers in some parts of the world, where it is assumed that understanding literature and literary text is the primary focus for foreign language learning and teaching. Yeah, actually it should be the primary focus, so it is the advantage. Okay, it might start some to someone else. Okay, you can prescribe some things and that would be welcomed by all. It is not always correct. আপনি একটা কথা বললেন, এটা দুইজন মানুষের মধ্যে কথা বললেও একজন পছন্দ করবে আরেকজন করবে না, isn't it? So এখানে তো গ্রামার ট্রান্সলেশন মেথড সারা ওয়ার্ল্ডে বড়ানো হচ্ছে, so some welcomed and some criticized. So that is the scenario of GTM, where speaking knowledge is little and late and thus less important. Actually the previous criticism, that is we learning vocabulary is tiresome, এটাকে আমরা বাদ দিলাম, কিন্তু this aspects actually grammar translation methods gives less importance in speaking and listening. That is the criticism that should be counted against grammar translation method, because after 1940 decades, naturally English language teaching or foreign language teaching was not inclined only for learning the literature. শুধুমাত্র লিটারেচার পড়ার জন্যই তখন মানুষ ভাষা শেখে নাই. They started teaching learning for many various reasons: immigration, politics, business, tourism, and also treatment. So many things are there. Okay, and for this reason they criticize that where speaking knowledge is little and need, and thus that means you can write well but you can't communicate. You know the vocabulary of 1 lakh words but you can't passage, you can communicate with a foreigner. কারণ আপনি জানেন আপনি সুন্দর 1000 5000 ওয়ার্ডের এসে লিখতে পারেন, কিন্তু আপনি একজন ফরেনারের সাথে হাউ টু মেক ইফেক্টিভ কমিউনিকেশন you can do that. And for this reason the vocabulary list are unusable. Unusable in which sense? Unusable in which sense? That means in practical day-to-day communication. That was the basic requirements after 1940 decades. And for this reason GTM was getting less important scenario. We see in the contemporary foreign language teaching and learning, text often reflects and shows GTM principles because the texts are frequently the products of the people in literature rather than in English language teaching or applied linguistics. GTM is long, so some other principles. GTM is not linked to language learning and teaching theories. Another component is that actually what did I say? I say that approach, that means theory will initiate a method. In case of GTM, another criticism is that there is no theory behind GTM. Okay, that is one of the severest criticism in terms of GTM, that there is no language theory behind GTM. Okay, and also there is no justification or rationale of GTM. Justification, that means what are the goals, and yeah, we are learning vocabulary as we have said. Actually the tireless vocabulary list and other items, that is there is no justification of this. GTM cannot connect language learning and teaching to linguistics, psychology and educational theory. Linguistics, psychology and educational theory, we have said. And in the mid-19th century, positive views on GTM were developed in several European countries, which attitude can be called the reform movements in the foreign language and learning teaching. Okay, so that was the scenario of English grammar translation method. Okay, and in such a way the grammar translation method started its journey. So it has a history, and also it has some positive side, and also it has some negative side. And also GTM start with just like the structure. Okay, I have underlined some words in which way actually the syllabus of GTM will be following these items. That is, I play football, what are the specific part of speech, you have to mention it, and mentioning this part of speech you have to elaborate the other component. That means you have to, I play football, verb, subject, verb, object. Not only that, you have to replace this word with following the same structure. Okay, so subject, verb, object will be there, then you have to, so the item is there, you have to teach the vocabulary and also you have to teach the structure. Okay, so we have got this idea, that is GTM, principles of GTM's advantages. In case of advantages, we will be dealing with some things. That is, what are the advantages? Actually, advantages is, and there are also some learner's role and teacher's role. Advances, that is, classes are taught in mother language. That is also the advantages. That is for teachers and learners. Sentences are the basic units of the teaching, learning. Antonym and synonyms will be there. Students' passive receiver, it is a positive side in which sense students will not be interacting the class. In case of GTM, students are not welcome to ask so many questions, and it is positive in which sense GTM can be applied for a large class. Whenever 300 students there in a class, if students are welcome to ask question and the teacher is answer the question of the students, what would be the scenario? And so student with the passive receiver in GTM, so it is the positive side advantages and also the negative side. Positive side in which sense, that means GTM can be applied to maintain the large class, and the negative side, that means introduction will not be there, so the communication, speaking and listening will not be there. Study grammar of the target language. Deductive application of the grammatical rules, that means grammar application will be there in the truest sense of term, that means massively. Translation from L1 and L2 will be there, and L2 and L1 will be there, we know. And memorizing verb forms, grammar rules and vocabulary, we have also said that. And classes are teacher centered, so we didn't say about the teacher's role. In case of GTM, at present what we are doing just like the GTM, one centered. Okay, that means one centered. Sometimes I am getting some clue to make you active, but that is actually teachers will be delivering the lecture from the beginning to the end. There will be no structure, so teacher centered approach is method is GTM. Teacher will be delivering lecture all the way, and students sometimes will start dozing. And just like 3 idiots, teacher will be using the board, someone will be going over there. And at present, if you follow GTM at this moment, that means teacher will start sharping at mobile phone, okay, if they are allowed to use in the classroom. So main thing is that teacher's role in GTM, that means teacher centered role is method is GTM. Teacher is the hero of GTM. What teacher will say, student will listen passively. Okay, so that is the teacher's role in GTM. So these are the teacher's role and the student's role, what we have talked about. So we have also talked about the advantages a little bit. Earliest for the teachers to use, easiest for the teachers to use. Okay, so that means actually before coming to the class at present, every teacher has to take a preparation at least. That means I had this class, okay, I teaching this course for 3 years, 3 or 4 batches, 5 batches, still I had to take preparation for 1 hour, okay. And but in case of GTM, it is easy for the teacher. It is not necessary to take preparation. কারণ বাংলায় তো কথা বলতে হবে, কি অত preparation. So easiest for the teachers to does not require teacher to speak good English. বাংলা ভাষায় বলতে হবে মাঝে সাথে একটু. So it is not required to make good lesson preparations. Okay. Only uses the textbook. Another thing is that textbook will be there. They will be fixed on textbook. And textbook এর মধ্যে কতটা গল্প আছে, কতটা লিটারেচার আছে, that would be done. Least stressful for student teaching occurs in the first language. Actually, yeah, when you are supposed to say that, yes. In the previous semester, I don't know, one student, he couldn't go to the desk for the presentation. প্রেজেন্টেশনে দেওয়ার জন্য কোনোভাবেই সে এখানে দাঁড়িয়ে কোনো কথা বলতে পারবে না, এত তার ভয় এবং লজ্জা। এরপরে তার সাথে দুজনকে দেওয়া হলো যে তোমরা দাঁড়িয়ে থাকো, ও তো ভয় পড়ে যেতে পারে। ওকে, ইন কেস অফ GTM there is no stressful situation. There is no stressful situation because you have to speak in Bangla and no interaction will be there. A student learns the new language without contact with their native speakers. Native speakers means ফরেন স্পিকারসদের সাথে তাদের কোনো কন্ট্যাক্ট নেই। সো নেটিভ স্পিকার টিচার উইল বি টিচিং দেম, তাদেরকে বাংলা ভাষাভাষী টিচারেরাই পড়াবে। এবং এই মেথডে বলা নেই যে আপনাকে ফরেন স্পিকার টিচারের সাথে মানে ব্রিটিশ আমেরিকান কোনো টিচারের কাছে পড়তে হবে এরকম কোনো রিকোয়ারমেন্ট নেই। ওকে, সো দ্যাট ইজ দ্য অ্যাডভান্টেজ অ্যান্ড ডিসঅ্যাডভান্টেজেস। স্টুডেন্টস ল্যাক কম্প্রিহেনশন অনলি ট্রান্সলেটিং ওয়ার্ড ফর ওয়ার্ড। ওকে, সো they will be understanding the meaning of some words, so their comprehension level will not be increased a bit, and doesn't allow student to create meaning in English. Okay, one of my teacher would say, okay, when I got letter marks in all subject in 1995 in SSC, one of my tutor, okay, he would come to my village home and he started calling me salam. Yeah, so okay, I have teaching English language for a long time, but none of my students got letter marks in English, so you have got this. Okay, and actually, but what is the meaning? That means meaning is that actually that teacher said that if you want to learn English, you have to speak in English, you have to listen English, you have to chat in English at the time of eating, sitting, sleeping and dreaming. You have to use English. Sleeping and dreaming. Can it be possible to sleep and dream in English? Actually dream is a subconscious activity of the human being. So if you are interested to learn English, that English learning will be patterned to your brain and you will try to think in English. In case of GTM, that is the leakage. That student GTM will teach you vocabulary, but it will not make you understand or a sentence in the or a word in the target language. So meaning in the target language, and for this reason Oxford Dictionary is there. Oxford Dictionary English to English. In order why? That is, you have to have the meaning of the target language in the target language. In GTM, that is the lack. Students do not learn to read. Extensive memorization, very little student and teachers, students or student interaction. Okay, so we have said these are the advantages. So these are the benefits and advantages of GTM methods. Okay, so there are some history in brief. That means he started his journey in 16th century, and why it has started? It has started to study the classical literature like Latin, French, or German language, and for this reason GTM is called the oldest method, and also it is called the classical method, and it is called the Prussian method. Why? In this method started its journey in German, and Prussia is a significant state of Germany, and for this reason it is called the Prussian method. And actually next time another criticism is that the GTM, next time German Latin language become the dead language, and for this reason GTM has another title. What is the title? Title in criticism. What is the title? That means GTM is applied to study the dead language. What are the dead language? That is Latin, German and French. Okay, so these are the criticism of grammar translation method. So we have got the perspectives of grammar translation method. Okay, so you will have some break, and after the break we will resume our class once again.